really for me, between the experiences that my dad created when we took trips, excursions, not vacations, and what my mom did and how I followed her literally everywhere has really and truly, people say, where did you get this joy for teaching? Where did you really, I'm just following in the footsteps of how I was raised, because when I teach, when I'm educating kids, I like to teach by creating experiences. That's why I do things like transform my room into Super Mario Brothers or to Ninja Turtles or to whatever their interests are, because that is what I find joy in doing. And so, my experiences as a child, they play a role in how I parent Maverick. I mean, even trying to create experiences for him as young as he is. And I know everybody says, he's never going to remember it. Well, I do, but I remember it. And so creating experiences, that's kind of how my upbringing has led to where I am today as an educator, as a parent. And I think those two things are really the things that shaped and molded me.
Yeah, with experiences, I think it's important to note that no matter who you are, what type of person you are, you can remember and reflect on super positive experiences and experiences that were just difficult, very hard, very sad. And it's our job as teachers, and everybody right now, you're an educator no matter who you are, and we've got to get that mindset in that it's our job to provide a more positive experience for our kids than there are negative ones. And that doesn't mean that you cannot redirect your child or you can't provide discipline for your child, but it needs to be a more positive take on especially during this time period. And I love what you just said about, I make these sensory bins for Maverick. And people are like, why are you doing that? Because he's only 1 year old. He'll never remember it. Of course he won't remember it. But if you're not a happy person, if you're not a happy teacher, if you're not a happy parent, you're not going to enjoy your time. And so sometimes it is for you. Sometimes the experiences are for you.
Find ways to, we talk to educators about this all the time, but I'm seeing it and being a parent too.
Right.
Find ways that make you excited to teach and use those to instruct in your classroom, even virtually. Even if you know what, if you loved creating experiences for your kids, set up a room transformation behind your camera and create a virtual room transformation for your kids. But the same is true of parents. Find things that really you enjoy doing. It doesn't always have to be about your child. Find things that make you excited. Find things that you really draw joy from and bring those into how you parent. For you, I think that you could dwell on, your upbringing of one of the things I admire most about you is how, looking at your past, you could dwell on that and say, well, I was abused and use that as a negative, aspect of parenting. But instead you're like, I couldn't control what my parents did to me, but I can control how I raise. And so I think you have found a lot of power in that. How you can take a situation that you were dealt and that you couldn't control, but how now you can use that and say, even though as tragic as it was, and not that we would ever wish your situation on any human, but you were dealt that, and that's what you couldn't control that, but now you can control how those experiences drive you to want to create positive experiences with Maverick and, form a really good relationship and a solid relationship and kind of break the stigma of, you were abused. And so now what are you going to do with that?
I think a lot of times with that mentality, it's very easy, and it'll be very easy for anybody, including myself, to say, I'm going to try to overcompensate because of what happened to me. And one thing that I was taught by one of my coaches actually a long time ago was, he said this a lot, almost every week at practice. He would say, I'm going to make sure that I prepare you for your future and not my past.
Wow.
And that has stuck with me ever since, because it is easy to take your personal experiences from your past and kind of put them on your kids, on your students. But you constantly have to reflect on that, and you have to say, I can use that to learn, and I can use that to drive me. But this child in front of me, they've never experienced those things. And so trying hard, I think that's the hardest thing to do, especially with upbringings and having different types of personalities in the home, is understanding what your past is and how to effectively use it instead of trying to overcompensate and put that on the kids that are in front of you. It's very hard, it's very difficult, but it's very important to be reflective of and take that time to understand with what's going on inside of the home, outside, whatever you're doing, to make sure that you are staying true to that phrase or that quote that, hey, listen, it's not my past I'm preparing my kids for, it's for their future. I can use that to guide me, drive me, whatever it is, making sure we stay true to that.